50 Cent is allegedly in possession of a disturbing video that Terrence Howard allegedly recorded relating to Diddy's infamous Freakoffs. Terrence recently dropped a major bombshell about Diddy's shady Hollywood parties, and the footage he passed along to 50 has left fans in shock. What's even more explosive is that the video reportedly features Young Miami allegedly caught right in the middle of the chaos. Let's break it all down. Here's the thing: nobody expected Terrence Howard to be the one to start airing out Diddy's freaky business, but he did. On a recent podcast, he opened up about how Diddy once reached out to him under the guise of needing help with acting, only for Terrence to walk into something completely different.
There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. But when you lose your man card.
Terrence says he thought it was a professional invite, but when he showed up, the vibes shifted quick. Diddy allegedly started acting off, and Terrence made it clear that he wasn't playing along. He shut the whole thing down and bounced.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking.
But here's the part that really set the internet on fire. Terrence said Diddy had a habit of making moves on every man that came to those parties. According to him, once you crossed the threshold into Diddy's inner circle, your manhood was up for grabs. Terrence claimed that attendees were expected to lose their man cards at these events, and that's when people started looking sideways at all the recent accusations.
That's the only thing I can think of. You lose your damn man card.
What does that mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
I'm saying what I'm saying. You don't get that back. You come into this world as a man one time. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover.
Now, let's not act like Terrence hasn't been dropping hints for years. Back in 2022, when he retired from acting out of nowhere, fans were confused. He was still booking roles, still pulling audiences. Nothing on the surface looked off, but Terrence says the real reason he stepped back was because the industry tried to humiliate him. They wanted to strip him of his masculinity. According to him, they pressure him to take on roles in situations that had nothing to do with acting and everything to do with breaking him down.
Okay, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're gonna get a real reaction, man. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that.
He stood firm. He refused, and that's when he claims Hollywood labeled him difficult and quietly started pushing him out. This ain't just Terrence making stuff up either. Cat Williams said something real similar during his Club Shay Shay interview. He talked about how big name Black men in the industry are constantly being asked to wear dresses or do things that don't align with who they are, all in exchange for success. Cat said he turned down fat checks because he wasn't about to get played for laughs or stripped of his dignity.
Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right, because P. Diddy be wanting to party, and you gotta tell him no.
Terrence responded to that interview at the time and confirmed it wasn't just a coincidence. He said, Hollywood has a way of flipping on black men who refuse to play the game. He doubled down with a quote from his father: never take the vertebrae out of your back or the bass out of your throat. I ain't raising sheep, I raised men. Stay a man. To him, masculinity is under attack, and he believes powerful black men are seen as threats. And there's more. Terrence didn't just stop at Diddy. He reportedly had something to say about Diddy's associate Young Miami. According to Insider Talk, the video Terrence passed on to 50 Cent allegedly shows Miami participating in some freak-off activity at one of Diddy's events. The details haven't gone public yet, but 50 Cent is the one now claiming to be in possession of this tape. Now, let's be real, this ain't the first time Young Miami's name came up in Diddy's mess. People have long speculated about her involvement in Diddy's private affairs, but most chalked it up to gossip. But after this new footage surfaced behind the scenes, the whispers turned into foolin' accusations. We can't forget that messy fight she had with Gina, who, after Gina posted a pic with Diddy, Young Miami unleashed a wild rant on social media, allegedly threatening to get Gina blacklisted and suggesting she could make Diddy force her into a freak-off. It gets worse. Young Miami called Gina a certified freak and accused her of begging for a baby. She legit clapped back at Gina, saying, "If I wanted you to eat my P. Diddy would have had you on your knees, ho, you were eater." It was chaotic, explicit, and definitely showed how deep she was entangled in Diddy's world. And guess who allegedly pressured her into ending a pregnancy after she told Diddy she was pregnant? According to court documents, it was none other than Young Miami, whose real name Kershaw Brownlee, by the way, she allegedly called this woman, repeatedly telling her to get rid of the baby. And after intense harassment, the woman says she suffered a miscarriage. But it gets much darker, y'all. In one of the lawsuits against Diddy, a woman filing as Jane Doe claimed she was forced to ingest unknown substances at Diddy's house and later woke up covered in bruises with no memory of the night. She said this continued for months until 2024. Now here's where things really start connecting. In Lil Rod's updated lawsuit, he alleges that Young Miami was more than just an onlooker. She was allegedly involved in setting people up. He describes an incident where her cousin burst into a bathroom during one of Diddy's events and allegedly tried to force herself onto him. He claims Diddy sent her in there. He also says she later stripped and attempted to have intimacy with him in front of others. Disturbing. Doesn't even begin to cover it. To make it even worse, there was also a second incident, Thanksgiving 2022 in Miami, where Diddy allegedly asked for a $100 bill to snort substances with Lil Rod. When he didn't have the cash, Diddy waited until later and ended up using with Young Miami instead. And let's not ignore the report that she allegedly flew in drugs to Diddy's location via a private jet when his team forgot them. This is where things get tricky. According to those same court docs, Young Miami, Jade, and Daphne Joy were all receiving regular wire payments from Diddy's team. The docs say they were listed as workers under contract. So now the question is, was Young Miami another victim, or has she crossed over into being a willing participant, even an alleged recruiter for Diddy's disturbing network? At first, 50 Cent said he was going to stay out of it. He posted on social media, writing, "No comment, I'm staying positive, God help us all." But if you know 50, then you must have guessed that that didn't last long.
All I'm saying is, you see it now, all of these complaints. People were damned, they were and pillaged. This is what's going on. Right? And what do I get for the, I went through years of a hater. You're a hater, you want this and that. I'm just watching. Like, I look at things and go, when you see the new lawsuit coming with Jay.
Not only did he start teasing that he had freak-off footage, but also making a docu-series out of the material. Allegedly, the video shows proof of everything Terrence talked about, and it reportedly involves Young Miami in ways that have yet to be confirmed publicly. It's no secret that 50 has been in a cold war with Diddy for decades. If he's sitting on a tape this explosive, it's not a matter of if he drops it, it's when. And given how petty 50 can be, Miami and Diddy will be sweating profusely real soon.
You and Puff haven't liked each other business-wise for a long time.
Well, that's why it's only business. It was really, away from that, I explained why I didn't hang out with him, right? Because fluffy stuff going on.
It's not your scene.
It's not my stuff.
Not your scene.
They hug you from the front and the back at the same time.
It's not your thing.
It's not my thing.
What was the original annoyance between? It was just like,
well, when you start to get the momentum, he's like, "Oh, we gotta hang out." Yo. I got uncomfortable with him because the way he was asking to try and get me to hang out with him was like, "Yo, I'll take you shopping." Like, and I'm like, "What you mean?" Like, that's something you say to a woman you're attracted to, maybe.
Right.
At Chris Lighty's wedding, he told me to take me shopping. I looked at him like, what you just say?
It's just weird, bro. Like, and now you start to see a lot of the weird stuff that was there. It looks like it all lines up, don't it? It was not in the closet. It was in front of you, and you wasn't seeing it because you see the beards. You see the girls. So you didn't look at them the way it actually is to a degree.
I took a pill, but it was for me to perform better. For her to remember, buddy.
I didn't give her a drink so she forget what the happened.
I didn't do nothing Puffy did.
Yes, I took the picture.
I gave me the drug to perform.
Yeah, no, it was just so excitement. There's so much excitement that there was no reason for me to put something in our drink. I need you to remember.
So she can remember and possibly love me.
Let's pull back the curtain a little further. Stories about these secret Hollywood parties aren't new. They've been whispered about for years. NDAs, cameras, handlers, the whole thing. But now with lawsuits piling up and witnesses coming forward, it's starting to look like the Freakoff culture is more real than we ever thought. Some people believe these events are about more than just pleasure. They're about control, about having dirt on everyone, and if Diddy was recording people like insiders claim, it could explain how he stayed protected for so long. At this point, fans are flooding the internet with reactions, applause, and disappointment. One comment reads, 50 is so genuine, he is honest, and not scared to say things other men, especially famous and/or wealthy men, are too insecure to say. I love that this clip shows he's a thoughtful man and lover. He's not trying to hurt a woman, mistreat her, or disrespect her. I love Curtis goes to show how this Diddy situation would not have come to be if those with any power around him chose to say something sooner rather than join him and stay silent. Another comment went on to say, in the early 90s, before Terrence Howard got famous, I used to see him walking in Harlem on St. Nicholas, 145th Street, Nicholas Avenue to be exact. He used to get artwork from my friend Sherry, who is a graphic designer, and he always carried a guitar. Even back then, he was into his music and became a famous actor. He's always been from the hood. People don't really know that he's about his business, clearly pointing out that Howard's priorities have always been far removed from Diddy's expectations. Now that Terrence Howard has spoken out and 50 Cent is reportedly holding explosive Freakoff footage, everything has shifted. Young Miami's involvement is under intense scrutiny, and the spotlight on her is growing fast. If even a fraction of these claims turn out to be true, Diddy's entire empire could be on the verge of collapse. One thing is clear, this has never just been some messy gossip. It's always been a scandal of epic proportions with the potential to expose a much darker side of Hollywood. Stay tuned, because if 50 Cent chooses to unleash that footage, the fallout could take this entire scandal to an entirely new level of chaos. Make sure you hit that like button and check out our next video for the latest twist in this Diddy's horrific circus.